Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Professor Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin, and for today's video, I would like to make a comment on what one local professor, whose statement was that the vernacular school, especially the Chinese Vernacular School, is the main contributor to the disunity that we have in this country. He also said that the non-Malays, especially perhaps the Chinese, are very insulting to the Malays, as well as they insult the national language, which is Bahasa Malaysia or Bahasa Melayu. These are very strong allegations, and I'm not sure how he has proven them in his so-called academic research. Now, for today, I would like to make a message that I do not think that it is correct for the professor to say this, because there are many things that has happened in this country in the last 20 years that I have noticed to cause what we call a society of mistrust, a society of disunited communities. Now, I will let all of you make the decision whether what the professor said is true, that the vernacular school is the main cause of disunity, by listening to what I have to say from what I have observed after 25 years looking at what's happened in this country. Now, first, quite recently, we have the Hadi Awang, who is the leader of the so-called Islamic Party, making an accusation that the non-Malays have no morals because they do not have some kind of a decent dress code. For them, they are like animals. This is the statement by a so-called religious teacher, who is also a member of parliament and leader of a very big Malay-based political party. He has also said that the non-Malays, because they were not taught in Islam, therefore they are prone to corruption, meaning that most of the corruption, even though we hear that many Malays are the one being indicted, but he seems to say that it is because of the non-Malays and that they are the ones that is prone to corruption. For me, this is an insult because he has no evidence to show it, even though some quotes that there are some journal papers on the subject, but I doubt this matter very seriously. Now, with regard to this aspect of insulting other people, the Prophet Muhammad taught us that the Muslims are not allowed even to say bad things or dishonor the names of the warriors of the non-Muslims who fought in the war. When the Muslim asked why, he said that, well, these people have families, and if you were to dishonor them in terms of making derogatory statement or insulting them, then their families would feel hurt, and this animosity would continue forever. So this is something which the Prophet had taught. And in the book Bencana Lisan, or the catastrophe of the tongue, Imam Ghazali have made many examples of how the words of people can hurt, and this is not something which is encouraged in Islam. Even though the so-called religious teacher Hadi Awang says this is for Islam, but believe me, he is not using what is called the culture of the Prophet or the values of the Prophet in Islam. We can also see next the incident of Chief Minister of Kedah, Sanusi, where he had destroyed a idol, or the Hindu idol, And in this particular case, the shrine or the idol is said to be on an illegal land. Now, we understand that many of these idols were set up before there is even a zoning law about it. And even if there was a zoning law that prohibited such an act, this matter should have been settled very carefully and also respectfully. What is wrong with removing the shrine in a careful manner to another site? But the Sanusi chose to destroy it. Now, when the Prophet sent out the army, he clearly said that you are not to destroy houses of worship or kill anybody who stays in that houses of worship and other people like women, children, and do not destroy trees if they bear fruit. These are the aspects of values which the Prophet had taught. Now, Sanusi comes from the same so-called Islamic party as Hadi Awang, and we see that both these individuals have threatened or also have insulted the non-Malays. Now, this can cause great disunity because there is a suspicion that the Malays or the Muslims have some sort of idea of threatening the other communities. Further on, we see the issue of the Kampung Baru Cina, where it is supposed to be suggested for the UNESCO heritage, but then many Malays were against it because it says that it is not part of the Malaysia or Tanah Melayu or the heritage of Malaysia or Tanah Melayu. This is funny because this existence of this Kampung Baru Cina is not by choice. It was forced upon them by the British in order to save Tanah Melayu from the influence of the communists, because the communists were getting supplies, whether willingly but from the Chinese or by force. And this act of creating new villages had successfully curtailed the advance of the communist people or guerrillas during that time. Then came the Bak-kut issue, where Bak-kut is simply a soup, and it can be based on any meat, but the Malays again say that this is a dish that is not supposed to be held up as a heritage dish because it contains pork, when it is clearly shown that there are restaurants who create halal Bak-kut from meat like chicken and also from beef. So this is again another way of insulting another race, their heritage, and also not admitting that all of the heritage of all the ethnic groups in Malaysia belongs to Malaysia, because Malaysia was created in 1963. So everyone, every ethnic group, every heritage has a value to the country Malaysia, and we living here, even though of different ethnic group, should honor all this heritage. We also have the example of Tun Mahathir calling out the non-Malays as Pendatang. Pendatang means immigrant. Now, Mahathir himself, people have said, is an immigrant in the sense that his family hails from India. My family hails from Patani, Thailand. My wife's family hails from Minang. I think Zahid Hamidi hails from Java or the Javanese island. So all of us comes from somewhere. And to say that other people who came a bit later is Pendatang, when in fact many Malaysians now are born in this country, is again insulting. Mahathir goes on to say that Malaysia is not a multicultural nation, it is a Malay nation. What about Sabah and what about Sarawak? The definition of Malaysia includes Sabah and Sarawak. they are not states like Perak or Terengganu. They are partner nation, like Singapore once was a partner nation. So this kind of narrative that others who are so-called non-Malays are pendatang, even though we have been independent for many years, and the formation of Malaysia guarantees the idea of living together under one nation. Next, we have the situation of threat and real threats against the Chinese. For instance, the burning of Ngeh cars and also part of his house. Although the police have not come up with any report, but this incident occurred immediately after Ngeh had suggested something about the idea of the Islamic law Sharia and the law of the constitution from the law of this country to be in synchronicity or to be seen as compatible and to be discussed in a certain committee. He had suggested that there should be non-Malays or non-Muslim as part of the committee. Now, even though I do not think that it is a wrong suggestion, but many Muslims think it is a wrong suggestion. I don't think it's a wrong suggestion because the laws of the land is made in parliament by people of Malaysia. It is something that should not be part of any religion. And so to have the Sharia law overcoming or overburdening the idea of having a constitution that has two kinds of laws within the same situation would be a difficult situation indeed. And so the idea of making sure that there is no clash or any extremism between the two laws is something that should be understood by all. And so there is now also a threat against Ngeh because he had suggested the Kampung Baru Cina, and then there is also the issue of the Bak-kut and also the other issues regarding many matters pertaining to Muslims, in which he is being threatened by, we do not know, but actually it is something that may relate to one group of people who seems to think that they are the guardians of their religion in an extremist manner. So we see again, there are many incidences of this nature, and I can quote many more, including the incident of the school or public school where the headmaster or head teacher would say to the Chinese students, go back to your own mainland China. And this incident was several years ago, and it happened in a public school. Of course, we can say that the fault lies with only the head teacher, but we can see the manner in which she was disciplined does not encourage the idea that this would be over. And certainly later on there was also the incident where non-Malays were forced to eat in the toilet when Ramadan came, when in fact in Islam there is no such requirement that other people should eat not to be in or not to be in front or not to be seen by Muslim. This is simply a courtesy act, has nothing to do with the idea of a law in which if you want to have a majlis or a ceremony during Ramadan, then you shouldn't have food, even though half of the audience is non-Muslim. For me, I have no problem. I have no problem of other people eating in front of me, because that is part of my religion being taught by the Prophet, where it becomes a challenge for me to stay the course of the fasting. So I don't require other people to tiptoe around me just because I'm a Muslim. Further on, we also have the idea of or the incident of a school prohibiting heritage dress, in which certain parts of the clothes is revealed, certain parts of the body is revealed, like the sari or the cheongsam, and this is not being allowed. And this is again, in one sense, disrespecting the heritage of other people. Then there is also the incident in the school where glasses are kept. One part or one group of glasses is only for Muslim, other glasses are for non-Muslim. I mean, in Islam, it is not required for us to do something like that. And I even asked, how do all these Muslims travel overseas when they drink from glasses and in countries where they are non-Muslim who are in charge? So these are some of the things that has made our country in a manner that has create a disunity. We can also see the issue of the laundromat a few years ago, where this Muslim owner prohibited any other non-Muslim to use the laundromat. Luckily, the President Agong, Sultan Ibrahim, had reprimanded that person and said that in the law of you operating a laundromat, you should be open to all. We look at other laundromat who's owned by other non-Muslim, that Muslims frequent them. But here, when an owner is a Muslim, and so he or she has disallowed other people to use it, just because of his personal or ignorant interpretation of Islam. Finally, I'd just like to say there is also a very dangerous incident in Taman Austin, in which a non-Malay, I think it was a Chinese, was blocked in terms of traffic congestion during Friday prayers. Now, many Muslims are so so selfish, in the sense that they ignore the protocol or the code of ethics of the rules of the traffic by just parking their cars anywhere, and just because they say, oh, this is for God, this is not something that you should be doing. And so when the person honked, and the people came to him and beat him up. So this is also a very dangerous thing. Now, amidst all these incidences that I have explained, would you say that vernacular school is the cause of disunity? All these incidents show the ignorance or the mistrust or the idea of anger from one group of people, or from one religion, one race to others. Now, this manner of living will definitely cause huge problem of creating a united country, a nation that has a common purpose, a shared values, as well as shared history. Finally, I'd like to say that if the professor had said that Chinese school or the vernacular school are the cause or the main cause of disunity, why is it that the Malays have increased the number of children in these vernacular schools? And there's numbers on record that shows this increase in vernacular schools, and there are even vernacular schools where the number of non-Chinese, which means Malays, outnumber the number of Chinese. So where does this statement or thesis or research of the professor stand amidst all these issues of discontent, of mistrust that has happened in this country? So I leave you to judge for yourself. I think the problem of disunity is a problem of all of us. It doesn't matter from which ethnic group. We have been educated in a certain way by our schools. We have been educated by our religious teachers. We have been educated by our families, by our communities, by our friends in a certain way, in which we need to reflect on these ways that we have been taught, and we need to know each other better. We need to read more. We need to have more compassion, we need to have more patience, we need to have more understanding, and most importantly, we need to allow this government of Anwar Ibrahim to heal this nation, because without this unity government, what is the alternative? The alternative is a totally single race government that has members of that coalition that is making all these statements of disunity in this country. So with that, I would like to thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much.